Yes, sir. Okay. I should be live. I think I'm live. It ain't came back yet on the other end. Boom, 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 boom. Be live. There it is. Boom, boom, boom. Do, 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 do. I've really been feeling this song lately, so y'all gonna get it tonight. Do, 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 do. It's been 7 hours and 14 days. Yeah, buddy, since you took your love away. I go round every night, sleep all day. There we go. Since you took your love away. Since you've been gone, I can do whatever I want, and I can see whoever I choose. Eat my dinner in a fancy restaurant. Oh yeah, 'cause nothing can take away this blues. Nothing compares, no, nothing compares to you. Yeah, buddy. It's been so lonely without you here. Yeah, I'm like a bird without a song. Nothing can stop this lonely rain from falling. Tell me, baby, where did I go wrong? Ooh, baby, I can put my arms around every boy I see, but they only remind me of you. I went to the doctor. Guess what he told me? Guess what he told me? He said, Rosie, try to have fun no matter what you do. Ooh, because nothing compares, no, yeah, nothing compares to you. Boy, y'all know nothing about this. Alright, I think we good. I just gotta share this out in a couple more places, and we should be ready to rock and roll. If you can, click the like button, please. Let's do what we came here to do. I think this is gonna be pretty interesting on tonight, and I'm excited. Yes, indeed. It's so good to see y'all. Let me share this here and here. All the flowers that you planted, sugar, in the backyard, they all died and went away. Baby, I know that living with me, baby, is sometimes hard, but I'm willing, give it one more try. There we go. I think we good. Because nothing compares, no, nothing compares. It didn't take again. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm gonna just skip it. Don't worry about it. Yo, let me just go right to this one. Alright, last place, and we good. Because nothing compares, no. There we go. Compares to you. I can't hit that high one. That's Nothing Compares to You by Prince and Rosie Gaines. A lot of people don't know this. They think that song is Sinead O'Connor's. It is not. I saw somebody mention that earlier, the Sinead O'Connor. That is not her song. That is Prince's song, and he gave it to her and hopefully made a ton of money off of it, because when Sinead O'Connor sang it, it did hit the charts. I think it probably went #1. But that is Prince's song. And Prince version with him and Rosie Gaines. I like Sinead O'Connor's version, but Prince and Rosie Gaines, they kill that song. They kill it. If you listen to it, you get a chance to listen to Prince and Rosie Gaines' version, you ain't gonna listen to Sinead O'Connor's no more, because I don't. I just don't. I'm sorry, Sinead. You did a good job. You did the best you could. But Prince and Rosie, they came and they took the song to another level. The song was here, which was really good. Prince, Rosie Gaines got on it, and bam, it went up there. Yeah. Yep. So if you get a chance, you listen to Prince and Rosie Gaines' version of Nothing Compares to You. Change your life. Yes, indeed. So, once again, it's on, people. I am Brian Redmond. This is the Relationship Rehab. I'm so happy to be with y'all on tonight. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who is taking the time to join the show on tonight. I think it's going to be very good. I think it's going to be very educational, inspirational, confrontational, just a bunch of tationals. And I really think that we're going to have a good time on tonight. Think we're gonna have some fun now with me and all the gang, learning from each other while we do our thing, saying nah nah nah, gonna have a good time, hey hey hey, nah nah nah, gonna have a good time, yeah buddy. So let's go ahead and get right into it. For those of you who have not seen this Red Table Talk with Jada Pinkett. Shout out to Jada Pinkett. Matter of fact, let me first and foremost give a shout out to the first person in the chat, my man D. Strahan. Salute to you, sir. Give a shout out to Denise. Give a shout out to Athena. Shout out to JJ Dubois. Shout out to CJ Gunn. Shout out to who else then came up in here? Lafayette. Shout out to Skohar. Shout out to Little Rock Tyrone Church. Give a shout out to who else in here? My man Lando Calrissian. Shout out to my brother Eric Abrams. What it do, bro? Shout out to Daquan. And I think that's it. There we go. So let's first and foremost get this business taken care of, and let's hear this fine young good thing of mine tell me about this here this here FBI warrant. Come on here, baby. Talk to me.
Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use and is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107.
Why I keep leaving these on these glasses? Yes, there we go. Pardon my... Yeah, there we go. Get that off of there. All right. So, let's dive right in. For those of you who don't know, the gentleman that you are going to see right here is...
Hello, RTT family. This particular Red Table Talk is about a subject matter that is rarely talked about, and that is the sexual abuse of young boys. The headlines keep coming. Priests, pop stars.
With her show, the Red Table Talk, I think is really good. She's had some really great topics, and this topic here in particular was one that I thought was excellent. I think it's one that is not talked about enough, which is why I am talking about it. It's about NBA superstar, one time at one point or another, Keyon Dooling. And Keyon Dooling had been sexually abused as a child. And he, in some shape, form, or fashion, it's just, so fascinating how the mind works. He blocked out those moments or that experience that he had. And later on in life, it all came back to him. And he kind of like freaked out, detached from reality a little bit, and even wound up in a mental institution for some time. And thanks to his teammates and Doc Rivers, his coach, they were able to rally around him, and his wife, of course. They were able to rally around him and get him back on track. And his story is one that I think needs to be heard. It needs to be talked about. And like I said, this is a topic that is not talked about enough. We are so quick to jump on the side of young girls and the plight of young girls that are sexually abused, which I think is very important. But I believe that the young boys that are molested and sexually abused on a daily basis, they are the ones, the forgotten ones, if you will. They are the ones that are not talked about. They are the ones that are not even brought up. You don't hear about them. It's even more so difficult for them to come forward because of the ramifications of them doing so. Their sexuality is questioned. They are severely more challenged, I guess, just in life by their peers and by others, and they are looked at not so much as a victim, but more so as a weaker person when they are talked about. And I think that that's something that we need to stop viewing as such, and the only way that we can do that is by having a conversation. So let's have a conversation.
Even the Boy Scouts. Every new accusation of sexual abuse exposes a hidden epidemic that tortures our young boys and leaves them suffering in silence. Just days ago, Common, the multi-talented Oscar winner, courageously revealed a painful experience he had repressed for years of being molested by a family friend as a young boy.
So I want people to be like, man, I could, I've experienced this and I can say something about it if I find out how to heal myself. And a lot of people are afraid to talk about it, but the only way we stop the cycle is to talk about it. So that's why I chose to say something.
And when a friend told me about a courageous NBA player who was revealing a trauma from his childhood, I knew we needed to hear his story at the Red Table.
Let's do it.
So, pretty much what this is just them sitting down and talking about this. And
one of the reasons why this particular show was really important to me is because how many men told me,
really, men that you knew personally.
Yes. If I think about the list of 20 men in my own life,
really,
there'll be like 4 or 5 out of 20 that have been, sexually abused. I mean, even to the extreme of rape. So over the years, I've been really shocked at how common it is. Most men won't report it. They won't come out and talk about it. Such a secretive matter. Mm-hmm. Joining the Red Table is a former NBA player, Keyon Dooling, who for a very long time had kept a deep secret. In 2012, Keyon Dooling had a picture-perfect life with a beautiful wife and 4 adorable kids. He was starting his 12th year as an NBA player and had just signed a new $1.4 million contract with the Boston Celtics. He played for the legendary NBA championship coach, Doc Rivers, and his best friends were his teammates. All-star point guard Rajon Rondo and a young rising star, Avery Bradley. The Celtics had become his second family.
Our Celtic culture was extremely tight. We were a family.
He brought charisma. He was a very intelligent, articulate guy who was kind of more like a mentor, a big brother to me. Our families were close. Our kids played together.
Me and Keyon instantly just had like a special relationship. He was like an older brother for me.
Avery invited Keyon to Seattle for a charity event, but afterwards, his life took a dark and drastic turn.
After the event, Keyon having an incident with someone in the bathroom and us having to stop him, like calm him down, and this is kind of where everything started.
While Keyon was in the bathroom, a drunk man grabbed his behind and Keyon snapped.
We walked outside.
Now, that right there, I thought when I first heard this and I watched it, I said, wow, because of apparently what that did was that triggered that part of his life that he had blocked out. It like brought it all back and he like wowed out. And I thought about it. I said, man, I've never had something like that happen to me where, I'm in a bathroom or I'm somewhere where somebody like grabs you or touches you or whatever, and a man, I would say, touches me inappropriately. And to think about the reaction that you have, and that even brought me back to the Terry Crews thing. And it was like, you think about the way that we take a female being touched inappropriately way the fuck more serious than we do with a man. We really do, and that is a problem. I see that as being a huge problem for us as a people. A woman gets groped, a woman gets grabbed inappropriately, it's just dead out, you wrong, and whatever the hell happens to you, you deserve it. For a man to have that same thing happen, we tend to first and foremost question the scenario. Because when I first thought about it, I'm like, well, man, he got grabbed on his ass, like, well, he was in the bathroom, well, what was he doing? It shouldn't even matter. Whether I'm pissing or washing my hands or if I'm doing whatever, it's like, it shouldn't matter, and we should not think the opposite of saying, well, what led to that? It should just be the same way. If you get grabbed or groped by a man in the bathroom, it's like, I would probably lose my shit. And I would lose my shit to the point of saying, you know, the advanced part of it and you encroaching on my space and my personal body and you touching me is one thing. But I believe that just because of the way that we're raised, we don't want our sexuality to be questioned. We just don't. We don't want to, especially as men, and it's more so especially as black men. Black men, because, and this goes back to another point, which is something Tommy always says, and shout out to my brother Tommy. We are oversexed at a very young age. We are introduced to sex, whether it's through molestation, whether it's through, you know, videos or social media, whatever the case may be. We are introduced to it way too early, but we tend to be, as black people, more so oversexed than any other race. We are identified, and we are all of our cultural, you know, what do you call those things? Where, you know, those stereotypes, the cultural stereotypes for us, black men and black women alike, are, you know, it's always of a sexual nature, or it tends to go back to a sexual nature. You know what I'm saying? It's like when you think about black women, what's one of the first things you think about? Coca-Cola shaped bottle, fat ass, big titties, whatever the case, or fat titties, whatever the case may be. But more so, you think of a black woman, you think about a woman who got ass, some type of shapely, larger than average ass. That's what you think. You think about black men, first thing you think about is a man who has a more than larger than average size penis. We got big dicks, and our women got big asses no matter what. That's just the first thing that you think about. So it's like, we have to look at that and say, why do we take that as part of our stereotype that we continually perpetuate? Because when somebody mentions it, nobody says the opposite. Nobody says, man, well, that ain't even cool to mention that. We all just be like, yeah, you know, we do, yeah, you know. And it's like there's a bunch of other things that go along to that we don't necessarily want to have attached to us. Because it's like when you do have that stereotype and you do get looked at that way, if you got a big dick, you don't want to just be known for having that. You just don't. You don't want to be, well, you know, everybody know me because of my big dick. It's like, to me, it's a demeaning thing to where you try to do other things and you try to accentuate other things of yourself and of your body so that you don't have that thing looked at. Or you do the opposite and you totally put everything that you are and everything that you claim to be and aspire to goes towards that. I got a big dick. I want to use it as much as I can. I want to use it wherever I can. I want everybody to see it. I want to take pictures with it. I want to take selfies with it. I want to put it out front because that's what I want people to see. And the same thing with an ass. That's why when you look on social media, once the first thing a woman does, she turns to the side, pokes out her ass, and then she takes a picture. First thing she does. She turns around. She then looks back, and she wants her ass to be the focal point of the shot. It's just how it is. It's like, and I don't understand why we just continually perpetuate that, because it puts you in a particular category. You continuously get looked at like that because you say, well, if I have a very nice ass, or I have a very large penis, I have very large breasts, I have very big lips, I want people to see that first. Then when you do that and you put it out there and that's all you are talked about, that's the only thing that people talk about, that's the only type of attention that you get, then after a while you want to try to change that. Just like the video I did about the lady with the huge ass that she had pumped up. All of the shit she put into her body. She risked her health and she risked everything that she has as a person. She put all of that into her ass. I want this to be the focal point. And then she got to the point where she got tired of it. Because you should be more than that. But we have this thing that we want to perpetuate that. And because we do, it leads us down a path of being irresponsible with our bodies. Because it gives us the mindset, especially when we're young, that's all we're worth. That's all people want us for. That's all people want to use us for. That's all it is. And we keep that shit going. So it's like if you a dude and a woman come up to you and she like, yeah, you know why I'm with you, because you got a big dick. It's like, that's fun and games and it may be fun when you young, but when you get older, you want to be known for more than just that. You want to have more about yourself than just that. It's like, even, do you remember in the movie Boogie Nights? In the movie Boogie Nights, you get Mark Wahlberg, who plays Dirk Diggler, who's supposed to be, I guess, kind of like a John Holmes type of thing. He's supposed to have, he has this larger than average penis. He got this 13-inch dick. At the end of the day, he got into porn, became a famous porn star. He truly, honestly, in all his heart of hearts, he wanted to be and be known and acknowledged as an actor. He really did. All of that shit about, yep, he got this big dick, he can fuck like a champion on all these movies and all that. That was all fine and dandy, but he truly wanted to be respected as and recognized as an actor. An action what do they call that? Action guy. He really got into that. The sex and all that kind of stuff was good and fun and all that, but his true claim to fame that he wanted for himself was to be an actor. He was like, I'm an actor. You know, I know karate and all that type. That's what he was really focused on. Whereas the industry that he was in and everybody else looked at him because of his penis. And even once he lost everything and was broke and out on the streets, that's all people wanted him for. I want you to get it. He was jumping in and out of the cars with dudes masturbating because they wanted to see a dude masturbate with a large penis. That's what they wanted. And it's like, that's what was put out in the beginning. So it's like when we have those type of things and you have that thing about yourself, yeah, I get it, but you have to be more than that. And you don't want to have that be at the forefront of who you are if that's not who you want to be. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. That's the point that I was trying to drive home with that.
And we happened to see the guy that Keyon saw in the restroom, and he started choking him. To calm Keyon down, I just held him tight, told him it wasn't worth it.
From that day on, his teammates say Keyon became someone they didn't recognize.
He had came back from Seattle when we kind of had a gathering at the house. I started to see the difference and the change then. He kept talking about, how we all need to repent and ask for forgiveness. God is coming soon, and I was definitely worried.
A few days later, Keyon went to the Celtics gym and brought his little boy, KJ, with him.
Guys were playing pickup on the court at the time, and Keyon went on the court and stopped the pickup game and took the ball. And so everybody was like, man, what's wrong with Keyon?
And I remember him saying that he wanted to give his contract up. He didn't want to play anymore.
I got a call from my assistant, Emery. You need to hurry up and get here. Keyon is having a meltdown. And so when I pull up at the facility, the door busts open and it's Keyon in his shorts and no shirt. It's cold outside. And he hugs me. But he hugs me tight and hard and for a long time. He was literally talking about Illuminati's, evil, God. He wasn't making a lot of sense.
I wanted to get his son away because he still was acting a little bit different.
And I remember Rondo grabbing his son, KJ, and me driving him home. I was like, man, this isn't my brother. No, I have no idea what could have went wrong for him to just snap.
So you said, don't basketball players slap each other on the butt? Yeah, they do. Not just basketball players, but athletes. They do that. However, those athletes know each other, so they have a rapport, and they don't grab their ass. There's a difference between a slap on the butt and in the moment in which you're doing it, and when you are doing it, and what that connotation means. That's just like if somebody walks up to me that I know and punches me on the shoulder like, what up, boy? It's good to see you. I'm gonna be like, hey man, what's happening? If somebody I don't know comes up and punches me on that shoulder, I'm gonna be like, man, what the fuck is wrong with you, dude? Who the fuck are you? Don't put your hands on me. I'm taking a different approach because I don't know that person. And in that same context, my friends can't even play around with me in the fucking bathroom. I don't play you at the urinal and a nigga kick you in the ass and piss go everywhere. I don't play that shit. I don't play the fucking swords with the piss streams at the motherfucking... I don't play like that. I just don't. My friends that have a rapport with me, they know that. However, if we playing baseball and I get a good hit or I turn a double play or some shit like that, whatever the case may be, if that happens, then yeah, somebody walking by and congratulate me like, yeah, boy, good job. Well, good shit, B. Doing that is totally different. So I get what you saying and what you're asking. I hope I'm answering that. That's what it is, but it's a different type of thing. It's just like even when you with your girl, the way that you smack her on the ass when you playing around with her, or when you smack her on the ass when you hitting it, it's different when you groping her ass and you grabbing her ass and you pulling her towards you. It's a different type of vibe. It's a different type of feeling. So it's like there is a way that you can play around and you know, joke around and shit like that. But when you have rapport with a person, you know what that means. If my wife is walking past me and I just slap on the ass, she just like, boy, you better quit, or you watch out now, or she'll just be playing, just keep going. However, if my wife is walking by and I grab her ass and I cuff her cheek and I massage it, that's different. She gonna take that like, I ain't thinking what you trying to do. That's how she gonna look at that, because of the intention and what I'm doing and the way that I'm doing it. So it's like smacking somebody on the butt and really grabbing and groping somebody on their ass is two different things, whether they know you or they don't. The fact that a person does that and they don't know you, it's a whole different ball game, whole different vibe. Yes, time and place, that takes into account too. And that's it's like there's always a time and a place for everything, and depending on where you're at and the time in which you're doing something like that, it can really determine how somebody interprets what it is that you're saying to them or what you're trying to get across to them.
He calls me and tells me they put him in a mental institution.
So I remember hearing about this. This is where when this happened a while back, this is what I heard. I was like, damn, Keyon Dooling in a fucking mental institution. What the fuck happened? That was all I kind of like heard about it, because it wasn't like a real big thing. It was just that, hey, they heard that Keyon Dooling kind of like jacked out, went a little crazy, and they had him in a mental institution. That's what I kind of heard about it. So this was something that even, and I wanna say this about the NBA. This would have been a perfect opportunity for the NBA to go about actually bringing something like this to light. They really could have. They really could have stepped up. And the reason why I say that is because they do it for any other thing. Just like the NFL, when that shit happened with Ray Rice. What did the NFL do? NFL got every fucking player. They got every fucking rapper. They got everybody they knew to come out. Thank you to whoever hit me on the PayPal. I appreciate you. I'll call it out at the end. But to everybody, they went and got all the rappers, all the actors, all the players, and they all did these motherfucking videos where it should never happen. You should never do it. Don't never hit nobody. Don't never touch a woman. You should never hit a woman. They did that. They called that shit to light. And I mean, something like this, even though it wasn't the NBA's fault, I think they really missed out on an opportunity to actually bring about the mental health aspect of this and just the overall abuse of men that do this, especially in a sport that is all male. I'm quite sure Keyon Dooling is not the only basketball player that ever went through something like this. And I think that the NBA could have really taken advantage of that opportunity to actually bring something like this to the forefront and to light. It's just like even when you're talking about the abuse, the sexual abuse that happened with the Catholic Church. It was like it took a shit ton of people to come forward, but once they did, they all came forward, and it started a whole awareness thing about what had been happening for decades. For decades this had been happening, and then it was like, now what do you do? Because there has to always be a moment of calling something to the forefront, bringing some light into it and shedding some light on it, but then you have to take that other step and say, well, how do we help those that are suffering, and how do we help prevent these potential victims that could be still out there? Right, you have 450 players in the NBA. I guarantee you that number is way higher than just one old little Keyon Dooling that then came forward.
I just jumped in the car and I went to see Keyon. And when I pull into this facility, if you've ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, it was worse. I said, you don't belong here. What's going on, Keyon? And that's when he opened up about what happened, that he was abused, sexually abused. He said, I must have blocked it out of my mind all these years, and somehow it came pouring out of me. I thought he was in trouble. And to watch what he went through, I don't think he'll ever understand the fear of all the people who loved him.
Wow.
Now this to me was I've always been cool and liked Doc Rivers, but watching this, I had a whole new level of respect for Doc Rivers. Whole new level of respect for Rajon Rondo. I mean, Rajon Rondo to me was just a very good point guard. He was very high, in my opinion, very high, one of the smartest NBA players. He had a very high NBA basketball IQ. But I just thought he was just a really good player. And it was like, I've heard people say different things about Rondo, but Rondo to me is a competitor. Rondo really, and he really takes a old school kind of approach to the game. He work hard, he busts his ass, and he plays well day in and day out. And I like that about Rondo. But with what they did with Keyon Dooling and a lot of players, a lot of people, celebrities alike, in this situation, people will usually at best, give you a tweet and a shout out on social media, few texts and some phone calls, and that's it. They'll go and make a statement. I hope my boy turn out all right. I hope he gets some help. I hope this. I'm praying for, and that's it. These guys here, they really rallied around him and they really supported this dude, and they actually helped him, carried him, and did not let him fall to the wayside. I say this. When you hear his story, most people in this situation will wind up either becoming drug abusers, or they will wind up committing suicide. Real talk. Or in jail. One of those three. They either wind up in jail, wind up becoming drug addicts, or they will wind up drug addicts, or they'll wind up suicidal.
Yeah. How does that make you feel?
A lot of emotions. I feel supported. I feel loved.
Yeah.
And I also feel like a man who was in the battlefield, and my brothers didn't just leave me there.
Jada, stop it.
That proved to me that, man, my folks got love for me.
Yeah.
All
Yes,
three
I
of
was
them
very
do
happy
it. It's
about
so
that.
weird.
Also,
to see
during
them do that
PTSD,
shit.
you
It's
don't
like they
remember
all
everything
agree.
you experienced.
Yeah.
And that's a very difficult place to be for me as a man, to say, hey, I don't remember some of those things that happened during those times. And so to hear the different perspectives, kind of really brings it full circle to me as well.
Can you take us back to the beginning? Can you take us back to the actual incident?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
I can.
Definitely had,
so it was a rainy
PTSD.
day, South Florida in the summer. My friend and I, we were at one of my brother's friend's house, and we've been there before. We've hung out there before, played the video game, but this day it was different.
Right.
This day he put porn on.
Okay.
And that was really, to me, a part of the grooming.
Yeah.
When you're young, you're curious, you don't really know what to expect, but you also know that you're a human being.
Right.
So when porn's on, it kind of grabs your attention.
Yep.
And as that whole process went on, it's always still tough to talk about, but that was a point where,
Yeah, is that better? Can you hear me
first orally raped
now when I'm talking?
me.
Got it.
I just changed.
Yeah.
I just turned
And
up
then,
the mic a little bit and turned down the volume.
And I remember running out of there,
me know.
going home and jumping in the shower. I got my bike, I threw it down, I took my handlebars off. I taped up a knife and, I put my handlebars back together and then kind of started riding with a knife.
Got it.
With
So like here's one of the biggest things with this. Number one, he said he was with a friend and he was going over this friend's house, on the regular, and they would usually be watching movies or whatever, but this particular day they put on porn. This guy put on porn or whatever. And it's like that was the beginning. And I guess it comes down to this. In the world that we live in today, we have this thing where as parents, we tend to let our children go off and be on their own or be alone too goddamn much. And we do it in situations because we have to, because we don't have another parent to be in home, because we're single parents. We have an issue where we think we trust everybody and everybody's good. And they ain't gonna do that. They would never do that. And we have this thing to where we just want our kids to be out of our hair. And I think that is such a huge problem, because these people that do this stuff, it always winds up being something like that. Well, my mama left me alone with this dude, or my mama was at work and my mama boyfriend was at the house, or my mama was off drunk and she came home drunk, passed out, and I was alone in the house with this guy, or I was alone with this lady. It's like we always have this thing to where we are leaving our children alone with people, period. And I'm gonna tell you like this, as crazy as it sounds, that shit needs to stop. Stop leaving your kids with people. Stop I understand that you know, as situations, things happen and you gotta go here, you gotta go there. I get it. But just leaving your kids around people, when you do that, you need to check in with your children all the time. Like, you take your kid over to your auntie house, you take your kid over to your brother's house, you take your kid over to their cousin's house, and they spend time with them. You need to when you pick your kid up or your kid gets dropped off, you need to sit down and have a conversation with your kid about, hey, if something ever happens, if something ever goes on and it don't feel right, it don't look right, somebody touches you, you tell me. When a kid can articulate and really truly talk to you like that, then it's cool to leave them alone with somebody. But when a kid can't, you just shouldn't. You really just shouldn't. You have to stop putting your kids in vulnerable situations, especially when they can't handle themselves. And one of the biggest things that comes down to is us having families, having daddies in the home, having the parents together, the biological parents being together, thank you, Jason, being married, being able to financially take care of your kids to where you don't need a babysitter, to where you don't need to have an old lady up the street who got her old ass war-stricken, PTSD-stricken son who's still living there and he's 60. You have to stop putting your kids in those type of situations, and that comes from having kids and not having all of the resources to take care of them. That concept of all you need is love to take care of your kid and Jesus, that's a bunch of bullshit.
Warning, bullshit alert.
It just is. You don't want to have that mentality. Keep yourself in a situation to where you can take care of your kid financially. If one of you all needs to stay home, you can stay home and raise your kid. Keep your kids in a situation where you can keep them safe. Because when a kid is put into a situation, I'm telling you right now, these predators, they don't give a fuck about who the kid is or who the kid comes from. If they see the opportunity, they gonna take it. Now I'm telling you like this: when a predator knows, oh, that kid got a daddy, or that kid's parents always around, that kid's parents is always talking to him, that kid's parents is always checking in with him, that kid's parents be watching that kid like a hawk, then it gives that predator a second thought. They start to take the path of least resistance, and they'll say, you know what, I ain't gonna take my chances with this kid. I'm gonna go after this kid, the one that who mama ain't never home. I'm gonna go after the kid who mama always looking for another nigga, who been looking for another nigga. I'm telling you, that's exactly how they think. And it's like when they looking at that, they're looking at the opportunity. And that opportunity of leaving your kid alone, this is what will happen. What's up, Faith? What's up, John?
How old were you, Keyon?
I was 7 years old.
7.
Got it.
I was 7 years old at the time.
And how old was he?
At the time, he had to be about 15, 16 years old.
Got it. Was it an isolated incident?
Yeah, that was an isolated incident.
Right. And you never told anyone?
Never told anyone. I didn't tell my mom. I didn't tell anyone.
Anybody.
Yep. What was it that made you...
And that's one of the things, too. It's like you have so many children who don't tell. And one of the biggest reasons why they don't tell is because they're not prepared. You have to have that understanding with your child, and you tell your child, you can tell me anything. If something is not right, you tell me. If somebody does something to you, I don't care who the fuck it is, you tell me. You know, one of the things I tell my daughter all the time, and I've been telling her this for a long time. I tell my daughter this, and it's gonna sound crazy, but I tell her this. I say, you know your daddy's a superhero, right? I say, your daddy can't die. So anybody who tells you that they'll kill me or they'll hurt me, they can't. Because I'm a superhero. And the reason why I tell her that is because if something ever happens and some asshole tells my daughter that if she don't do this, they'll kill her daddy, they'll hurt her mom, I want her to be like, you can't kill my daddy. My daddy is a superhero. My daddy has powers. I want her to be able to say that, and that's why I tell her that now. And it sounds crazy, but I want her to tell that, because you have to realize a kid that's put in a situation like that, they will do whatever it takes to protect their parent or their parents because they love their mother and their father. They do. And they will do, and the last thing that a kid wants is for something to happen to their mother or their father. They just don't. Children are born, and when they're born, they are aiming to please their parents. That's why they'll do whatever. That's why they'll do whatever a parent tells them, because they want to get their parent approval. And I tell my kid that, you know you can tell your daddy anything, right? Yep. You know your daddy, he can't die. Now, as she gets older and she recognizes what that is, I will tell her what the deal is. Well, here's why I told you that, sweetheart. Because I didn't ever want anybody to make you scared to think that they would do something to me and I wouldn't be able to take, and something would happen to me. And you would be forced to do something that you know isn't right. That's exactly why, and I'll tell her that. And she will understand it by the time she figures out, like, why did you tell me you was a superhero, Daddy? Then I'll tell her why. Because I don't want my kid to be in a situation to where she's being put in an adult situation, or she's being put in a sexual situation, and she don't know how to function because it's so foreign to her, and she's just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. Because kids who don't know anything about the situation that they're in and they don't know what to do, they will tend to more than likely go along with the shit. They'll choose the path of least resistance and go along with it. And in that instance, they become a victim. They go from prey to being a victim. Period. And I don't want my kid to be in that situation. Not to say that it can't happen, but I want to give her every possible tool I can to help prevent that from happening to her. I want her to be able to say, I'm telling my daddy because my daddy said I can tell him anything. I'm telling my mama because my mama said I can tell her anything. That's why when she does tell me stuff, I don't always just go off the hinges and just really just come down on her. I don't do that. Now, when she fuck up, I'll get on her ass, but I don't come down on her when she tells me the truth, even when she done fucked up, because I want her to understand it's not gonna be the end of the world if I do something wrong. If my intentions were good and it was an honest mistake, Daddy's gonna be okay. He ain't gonna be mad. And there you go. Why he hanging out with a kid that's 7 years, that's twice his age, Jason? Because it's probably something where he didn't want to be at home alone because his parents was probably out.
Not tell anyone.
Yeah. Fear. There was a fear of me telling my pops that I was touched by a boy.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that dynamic. Those conversations aren't necessarily had, you know, in a healthy way.
Yeah. Right.
Yep. And then there's a fear that comes along with telling your protectors out of fear of what they might do, how would they retaliate.
And what repercussions.
You hear that? And he's saying this is his thought pattern at 7 years old. He's thinking about what his parents will think of him, his dad in particular, and he's thinking about what his dad will do and what he does could get him in trouble and get him taken away or locked up.
Questions would have been for them.
Yes. Right. Did you still have to see this person?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he should not have been there. You're absolutely correct, Jason. But and that's where you look at it like, where do you know where your children are? Y'all remember that shit that used to come on Channel 5 all the time? It's 9 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? It's like knowing where your children are is one thing, but knowing what your children are doing is something totally different. It's totally different. We have to, and that comes from being, not just being involved and being present with your kids, but knowing who your kids hanging with and being able to say, well, my kid ain't going over here, ain't gonna be over here with another kid for this long period of time, and I don't know what's going on. Because you can see clearly what happened. Oh, what y'all doing over there? Oh, we watching cartoons, watching Voltron, shout out to the Voltron Network. We watching Voltron, Dad. It's like, no. Let me go over here. Let me go see what y'all doing. Let me hang out. Let me not let you be over there for hours upon hours upon hours upon hours. 10 or 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, okay, that's one thing. But it's like when you just doing the same thing over and over again with another kid, you don't know what the fuck done happened to that kid. And a predator will use a kid that's been a victim and has been preyed upon will usually become a predator and prey on another kid. Say, no, you can't be watching that Voltron. You can't be watching that damn Voltron. No. I'm just saying, you just want to be, it's not about, it's about being involved. It's about knowing what your kids are doing. And no, you can't know every single thing. And no, you can't be there every second. But when a kid knows that you constantly are checking in on them, you're constantly checking in with them, you are showing that I give a shit and I'm constantly contacting and talking to my kid about what they're doing, it keeps the dialogue open. It keeps the lines of communication open to where a kid will feel like I can talk to my daddy about anything. I can talk to my mama about anything and tell them what's going on. And then when I do tell them something that's fucked up or that's wrong or that's bad, I know that number one, they're going to believe me. And I know number two, that they're going to do what's appropriate to get me out of the situation and to keep me safe.
Yeah, I had to see him quite a bit.
Did it ever make...
Because my thing is, and here's my thing with this. The type of conversation that should be had with children that we don't have with our children is the conversation of what can happen to them. Ask your kid, what do you do if somebody touches your penis? What do you do if somebody shows you pornography? What do you do if somebody asks you to touch their body, to touch their penis, to touch their vagina, to suck on their penis, to suck on their vagina? Ask your kids that. Because the thing is, giving them giving them the things that you want them to do if they are confronted in that situation is what you want them to be able to do, because when you're in that situation, that's all you have. That's all you have. I'm gonna tell you like this, just like here's something that I do with my daughter, and I noticed this from her at a very young age. My daughter just turned 6, and I noticed this at a very young age. When she gets worked up, she gets very emotional, and she gets very, very, very hyped. She begins to be unconsolable. Like, she cries and she gets so worked up to where she can't talk. And I don't know if I've told people this before, I think I may have, but I always tell her, first thing I do, if she falls and hurts herself, if she breaks something, if she does whatever, first thing I do is tell her to stop, breathe. And I tell her, breathe once, and she, deep breath, 2, 3. And usually by the time we get to 3 or 4 or 5, she's calm now. Then the next thing I tell her is to speak to me and tell me what's going on. I don't want her to be one of these kids that to where they're just so worked up they can't control their emotions. Yes, something can happen to you to make you go, holy shit, oh wow, I don't know what's happening. But I want that second thought for her to be, wait, stop, breathe, get yourself together, now react. That's what I want her to do. And that's why I'm training her like that now. So if she's ever in a situation to where she is hurt, to where she is out of control or something happens, I don't want her to be out of control. I don't want her to be out of control. I want her to be able to stop, breathe, and think. Because that will save her life one day. I want her to be able to function in a heightened situation, in a stressful situation. And that's just like when you watch, I got this video I got to do about this guy that gets arrested. And it's like all the time, especially when it's black folks. The first time something goes left where somebody's getting arrested with the police, they fighting, what is it that you hear? A bunch of fucking screaming and yelling about nothing. We instantly lose control when a heightened situation occurs. And it's more than likely, most of the time, it's women. That's all they do is yell and scream. Wow! Wow! A long time ago, about a year or so ago, I did a video about these two young girls that was in their like 20s, college kids, they were in a Applebee's, and the person at Applebee's thought that they had did a dine and ditch. They did a dine and ditch a week ago or so, or the weekend before. So that manager at that Applebee's called the police. Police come, and the police starts to literally make contact. Police ain't pulled out no cuffs. Police ain't said you under arrest. The police say, hey, we had a call. We here following up. We doing an investigation saying, hey, this is what happened. The two girls, one of the girls was sitting there talking calm. The other girl started crying. She started screaming. She got on the phone, called her mama, and was screaming on the phone and crying. And the police are like, what is wrong? Like, we're just talking. Nobody's going to jail. We haven't said anything. And she was just screaming. And people were saying in the video, yeah, they did that. Them police ain't shit. They did that. I said, wait a minute. The police did their job. These two grown-ass people had inappropriate behavior. Plain and simple. No matter how upset you get, no matter being pissed off, no matter being mad, just like the twerking graduation mama. She didn't realize the one thing about what she did was that her behavior, it was inappropriate. Plain and simple. It was at the wrong place, and she did it at the wrong fucking time. And it's like black folks have a huge problem with being told that. Your behavior, it ain't about, oh, I felt this way. I felt like doing this at this time. No, you can't just do what you want to do at every point in time in your life. That twerking mama shit at her son's graduation, it was inappropriate. Is twerking a bad thing? Yes, in the wrong situation, in the wrong arena, it is a very bad thing. You want to twerk in the bedroom with your husband? Fine. You want to twerk at the nightclub with a bunch of other grown-ass men and women? Fine. Twerking at your son's graduation in front of all of his peers is not okay. It's wrong. What if your daddy got up, if the kid's daddy got up and did the long dick dance and sitting there flinging his dick back and forth? Then what? What would people say? He shouldn't have did that. Why? Because it's wrong. Now, if he in a bedroom with his wife and he want to do it all day long. It's just like when you go to court. There's certain things that you cannot do in a courtroom. There's certain things that you have to do when you're in a courtroom. It's the same thing. It's inappropriate behavior is what black folks have such a problem with. We think that when no matter what happens to us, no matter what situation we're in, we can do whatever the fuck we want to do and just chalk it up to, oh, I was hurt, or I was scared, or I was upset. No, you can't just do that. If I'm sitting in church and I just feel so angry and enraged with a text I just got, can I just get up and just start slapping people? Yes. Is it inappropriate? Absolutely. If I get my ass kicked, if I get beat up, or I get shot because I'm doing it, those are the repercussions of it. It's that simple. So it's like we have these things to where we have it. It's okay for women to do this shit when it's fuck shit, and it's not. It is not. And case in point to that, when you look at the black men, the two brothers that went into Starbucks and they had something very similar happen, they got approached by police. What did they do? Okay, sir, do your job. Take me to jail because I see the check already and I know I'm right. I'm fine. Go ahead. Y'all want to lock me up? Y'all want to take me to jail? You want to put me in custody with this? Go right ahead. They want, wow! Look at what y'all doing. Look at what y'all doing. Y'all gonna kill him. Y'all gonna try to kill us. Y'all knocking us up, you racist cops. Y'all. They didn't do none of that. Same thing here. It's like you have to teach your kid how to behave so that they can exhibit the appropriate behavior in a situation that's stressful to them. Just to bring it on back. A kid of mine gets touched, or a kid gets this, or a kid gets that. You want them to be able to react. So you want to talk to them about it and tell them what to do. Tell them what to say.
Like you can't question like your sexuality or question just you.
Yeah. I think you have to. You have to, ask yourself questions in order to try and wrap your mind around it. So, the first question is, what was it in me that they saw that it happened to me?
Right.
Was it some type of, energy that I was giving off? So a lot of times, I blame myself. Like, dang, he caught me slipping.
Right.
What was I doing there?
Exactly.
Also, you question your toughness.
Yeah.
You question your masculine energy because I wasn't strong enough to fight him off.
Right.
You get it?
And so I blamed myself for years.
And that comes from that thing of just saying, hey, you tell your kid, hey, if you somewhere and you with your friends and your friend puts on a movie, your friend puts on something on the internet, or they showing you some pictures of naked women, naked men, whatever the case may be, or they trying to show you parts of their body or whatever, or they ask to see your part of your body, instant red flag. Get the fuck out of there and you come find me. You get up out of there and you come call me. You come find your mama, you come find your daddy, and you tell us both. And that's the conversation that should have been had with him as a kid. Because once you hear that, and once that kid is put in that situation, the minute that porn came on, Keyon should have known, Daddy told me if this ever happens, I need to get on his bike and be like, I'm out. No, I don't want to do this. I don't like this stuff. I'm gone. Oh, come on, man. We just watched. Nope, I'm gone. Why? Because my daddy told me this. My daddy told me don't ever sit and watch porn with nobody. You see a movie that got naked people in it, you get up and you fucking leave. Somebody's showing you some pictures on the internet of naked people, you get up and you leave. Somebody's having sex, you get up and you leave. Somebody tries to touch your body, somebody puts their hand on your leg, your crotch, your ass, your what, you get up and you leave. Somebody asks you to touch a part of their body, to massage them, you get up and you leave. Somebody asks you to come sit on your lap, on their lap and lay down with them in the bed, you get up and you leave. Somebody want to give you something to drink that you know you ain't supposed to drink, you get up and you leave. Because that's what a predator will do. They want you to be in that situation where they can get your ass. That's all they're thinking about. And everyone ain't just somebody that's just sitting back looking all creepy ready to get you. It's the nice one. It's the one that does above and beyond. The one that want to go and do this with your kid. Pick your kid up. Buy this for your kid. Take your kid here. Take your kid there. Yeah, mom, I'll take them off your hands. I know you're tired. I'll give you a break. That's exactly who the motherfucker you need to be worried about. And it's not a thing where everybody's like that, because they're not. But you need to keep your kid in a situation where you looking out for their best interest, and that's always at the forefront. I understand that you cool and you friend of the family. I understand that this your niece, so I understand that that's your uncle. I understand that that's your cousin. I understand that, but you being in this room with the door closed ain't cool. You being in the room with this person over here at their house and everybody downstairs and y'all two upstairs, that shit ain't cool. How many times have you been in a situation where the grown folks want to do some grown shit and they send all the kids off somewhere else? Y'all go downstairs in the basement. Y'all gone outside. Y'all gone upstairs in such and such room. And you got a bunch of fucking kids upstairs. You don't know what the hell they doing. Shit like that will happen.
So, you were only 7. Do you remember whether you noticed in yourself any kind of change in behavior that you can recall now? Because you wouldn't have recognized it then.
Yeah, it made me angry. You know, I went from being, you know, happy-go-lucky to, you know, if I didn't get my way, I might, you know, throw bottles on the basketball court. Nobody playing today. Started smoking very early. Started drinking very early. I became more promiscuous at a very early age. I got to prove to myself.
Now, there we go right there. Just like I was talking about us being oversexed. Us having that thing to where we got to prove ourselves. And I'm telling you right now, it is so much difficult. It is so difficult for men to live in this space because we have to prove our virility. We have to prove our masculinity. And it's like, when you think about it, I remember being young. It's like, the thing about sex with me and my friends, it wasn't about quality. It was just about quantity. It was about quantity. It was about being with as many girls as you could be. You could have the finest girl in the neighborhood, and you just couldn't be with her because you got to prove to your friends that you can just not only pull the finest girl in the neighborhood, but you can pull any other girl you want. You can pull another fine one. You can pull this other one over here too. You can fuck this one, and fuck this one, and fuck this one, and fuck that one. You can fuck them all at the same time. Fuck them all at different times. Point of the matter is that you have to prove to your friend and your peer group that you fucking at all costs. And it's so ironic that we get that pressure put on us at such a young age, to where we have this thing where we want to go out, fuck them all, fuck as many as you can, get as much pussy as you can. You should be trying to fuck every day. What you doing? She trying to get some pussy, man. I'm going to pussy. I'm going with pussy. That's all we do. Then when we get married, what do we want? You need to be faithful. You get grown. You need to stop being a boy and be a man and stay with this one person, spend the rest of your life with that one. Well, how? You've been telling me since I was a young boy with a fucking tail that I'm going to have all the girls. Now I become a teenager and I'm trying to have all the girls. Then when I become grown, you don't want me to have all the girls. You just want me to have one girl. What kind of sense does that make? Do you see the type of mental pressure that we put on our young men? When we first born, what do women want to do? They want to change the little boy pamper to see how big his dick is. And once it's big, they be like, yeah, girl, he gonna be killing them girls. Ooh, them girls gonna love him. They gonna love his big dick. Then when he become a teenager, what do? We have all of the women that's around them that's my little boyfriend, that's my little husband, that's my little man, that's my little boyfriend, that's my little husband, that's my little man. And it's not just the mamas that's doing it, it's the mama's friends, it's the aunties, it's the cousins, it's all of the women are doting on these young boys, talking about that they man, they husband, they little man, they little boyfriend. So you teaching a kid at a young age, before he is even sexually active, before the sexual reproductive part of his body is even active, you start teaching him about being with multiple women. Then when he gets old and starts having sex, then what do? That's right, get them all. You got all these little girls coming over here trying to get to my little son, trying to get my son, these little rat heads, these little big girls. I'm just trying to keep these young girls off my son. They all want my son. They all want my son. That's my son. Then what you telling them? Man, fuck it. What are the guys telling them? Fuck them all, man. Fuck all them kids. Fuck all them girls. You tell these kids as many girls you can fuck, man, you fuck them. They all want it. Give them all to them. Give it to them. And then when you get grown, or when you become a teenager, what's the first thing? Oh, well, I was doing all this fucking that y'all was telling me to do, but I didn't have on a condom, or the condom broke, and now I got a girl pregnant. And what do the mamas say? They fine with it, and here's what's fucked up. A lot of these single mothers are fine with their kids having kids at a young age and not being married because they still got them. They still got a hold on them. How many single mothers do you see pushing their children to be married first? You don't. Because single mothers don't want to be by themselves. They want to keep that young boy as their man. They want to keep that young man as their husband. for as long as they possibly can. And the first time a real woman comes around, and the first time a woman comes around and gets serious with them, most single mothers despise them, especially if they don't like them. I don't like that little young bitch. Why? Because she ain't kissing your ass? I can't stand that little girl because she always trying to keep my son. She always telling him what to do. She also, since you don't have control over him now, you don't like her. So now you got this dynamic to where these single mothers, they prefer their sons to have kids by girls and not be married and not be with them. And then that way, yeah, I help take care of my grandson and all this. I help take care of my granddaughter. Yep, she can stay with me and all that. I'm going to love her just the same. But you don't encourage your son or your daughter to be married first. I had mine when I was young. I made mistakes. I had mine when I was, and I didn't get married. Look at how I turned out. Look at everything I did for you. I did what I had to do for my son. He still had the best of everything. He had Jordans. He had Gucci belts. He had all this stupid shit. But he don't know how to be a father. He don't know how to be a man. Then when he gets grown, what does his baby mama expect him to do? Step up and be a man. Be responsible for your kid. And what has he been taught since day one? Sling your dick, kid. That's what we teaching them. Sling your dick, play sports, or rap. Sing or rap. As far as securing a life for yourself, establishing yourself as a man, getting good credit, making sure you have a trade, knowing that you have a backup plan. If this don't work, to do this. We don't teach our kids none of that shit. Then when these single mothers get tired of these kids and they get grown and they want them out their house, or God forbid that single mother find her some dick, some steady dick. Now she ain't got shit to do with it. You need to get on your own. You need to get your shit together. You need to get out of our house, and you need to go ahead and do this. You need to go ahead and get yourself together and get you a job and go. Now I ain't got shit to do because now I got something to do. We set our children up for failure because we don't go and do the things we need to do to prepare our children for success. We don't. We want to be their fucking friends, and we want to just give them a bunch of shit that they don't earn, that they didn't earn, so that they'll like us. So they'll stay around us. So they'll hang out with us and make us feel young.
That this wasn't real, so I got to go chase as many girls as I potentially can, you know. So it made me very promiscuous.
Did you ever confront your abuser?
No. I never got that opportunity to confront him or get that, you know, justice. A lot of times when you're abused, you might not get justice.
Right.
But I think you got to get healing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I think they're both important.
Yeah.
Right. But for me, the track that I chose was the healing track. And so the first person I told about it was my wife, and then I told Doc about it.
How did she react?
Ooh, it was tough.
Yeah.
She was just so disappointed that, you know, I didn't tell her.
Yeah.
From my perspective, you know, I thought she would look at me as less than a man.
Yeah.
You know, so there was some fear associated with that. Also, you know, just being in a very masculine industry.
Yes.
You know, how would the guys perceive that I've been, you know, sexually abused at the hands of a teenage man?
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of, you know.
And see here, and here's the thing too. I believe it to what in what he just said. It's like he didn't know what to do because he couldn't tell his wife, because he didn't want to seem weaker than, less than. He couldn't tell his homies because he didn't want them to be looking at him like, man, this dude probably gay. He probably wanted that shit. Yeah, she would be disappointed because she trusted him and she wants to. It's like you have to have this thing to where a lot of people, when you're in a relationship with somebody, you want to know that person. You want that person to be able to come to you and tell you any and everything. And it's like when you don't have that, it can be disappointing. Like, damn, I've been with you all these years and I didn't know that. That's quite a shocking thing to know. If my wife came and told me now that she got raped or some shit like that years ago, I would be fucking shocked. Like, damn, I've been with you all these years. I've known you all these years. You never told me? Yeah, it would be disappointing to say, well, what is it that kept you from telling me? And in a selfish kind of way, you may try. It's her making it about herself, but then it's about saying, well, man, why couldn't you feel like you were comfortable enough to tell me? Why wouldn't you tell me? I've told you everything about me. I've told you all of my innermost, deepest secrets. And this thing that you held back from me, it's not disappointing the way you want to be out of the relationship, but it's just disappointing to say, well, man, I thought that we revealed all of our secrets. I thought we unpacked all of our bags. I thought we laid our cards down all faced up. So I think that's what she's meaning by that, Athena, but she's gonna speak. And to what you were saying, Infamous, as far as looking at sex as being something spiritual, I think sex is all encompassing. And I think one of the biggest things that we take out of it, or that we don't put into it, is the responsibility part of it. There is a spiritual part of that. There is a spiritual connection. There is a physical connection, and it's all good, and it's okay to experience all of those. And there's a responsibility connection to it as well, the responsibility piece to it as well, that we totally disregard. And that's our biggest problem. We are so careless with our sex, men and women alike, and more so in the black race. We are so careless with our sexuality. We just are. There isn't a responsibility piece being taught about our sexuality. Yes, being young and being sexually active it's challenging. It makes you think. It's an emotional roller coaster, and you go through a lot of different things. I get all of that, but there has to be a part of it too, to where you say, hey, even though you're going through all of this, there are some things you do, and there are some things that you don't do. It's just like being an adult in the world. There are certain laws you don't break. There are certain crimes you don't commit. There are certain things that you don't do. And we'll teach that part. Well, not all of us, but we'll be more inclined to teach that part than to teach a boy about his seed. You don't just plant your seed anywhere. You don't just give your seed to anyone. You don't have sex unprotected until you're ready to not just have a kid, but to build a life with a woman. Same thing for a woman. You don't just let anybody inside of you. That is your most intimate embrace that you can give to another human. You don't just let anybody have that because they got a nice car, because they took you to a nice restaurant, because they bought you some shoes, because they bought you a bag, because they tipped you this much at the damn strip club. You don't do that. We don't teach that shit. You like a boy, you fuck him. That's what we teach. Yeah, he may be a piece of shit, but he yours. We have to start teaching our young people, you don't give away your body, and you don't accept people inside of your body just because you like them, just because they're cool, just because they look good, just because they have a fat ass, just because they have a big penis, just because they say they like you too, just because your friends like them. How many women have went after a guy strictly because their girlfriends like them too? How many guys have tried to get a girl just to compete with the guys to say, I can get her, no, I can get her, no, I can get her first? Think about that.
Doubt and insecurities and confliction within me during that time.
Right.
Yeah.
We don't always think about how sexual abuse affects a survivor's loved one. But Keyon's wife, Tasha, has been dealing with this trauma as well. Keyon Dooling and his wife, Tasha, were high school sweethearts.
I met Keyon at a football game, and we were 16 years old. I liked that he was funny.
And one of the things about them is I didn't even know
we went to all
that they've been together all
prom,
this time since high school and all that stuff. So she's
you
been there
pull us apart.
for the whole
At just
ride.
20 years old,
which, to
the
what you were
Doolings
saying,
began their life
Athena,
together.
that's
They got
a
married,
lot of history.
started a family, and watched
And
Keyon's
in that
dream of joining
time,
the
I'm
NBA
sure that there
come
have
true
been a lot
when he
of
was
secrets
drafted in the
told.
first round.
There have
They
been
had
a
a
lot
happy
of
life
things just exchanged
until the
between those
incident in
two,
the
a lot of
bathroom.
growth between those two that they have
After
just
Keyon
experienced
came
over
back
the
from
years
Seattle, he
because
changed.
you're just with somebody that long.
A lot. And he was acting weird. He see things that we didn't see. You know, he thought people was out to get him. One day, my daughter, Gabby, ran upstairs and she was like, Mommy, Daddy's in the street. And cars are coming and they're blowing at him. And I'm just like, what? So one of the neighbors saw Keyon in the street and they called the police. The police came and it was a whole bunch of police. And I'm just like, oh my God, and they knocking and bamming on the door. They had their guns and they handcuffed him on the floor. And they was just like, is he having a mental breakdown? I said, yes. He was like, we have to take him because he can't be here around
So let me say this. So
Tasha
it's like
followed
you.
the police
So
car to the hospital.
What,
When she got there,
Kanazan Barbie said, he said, it sounds a little judgmental to be sad if your spouse had a fear they needed to overcome before telling you what happened. I get what y'all are saying.
I was like, I'm Natasha
but I guess
Dooling. I'm your wife.
My point is,
and he said, you sure?
Like,
I said, yeah.
You have, so okay.
And so,
so Athena,
he said, well, then
you
who
said
am I?
that you've
I
been
said,
with your husband since you was 16, and he's and that's 29 years that done went by.
And that,
don't
that was
you
really
think
hard.
that there are just certain
and
things
I knew I couldn't
that
take him
your
back
husband
around the kids until he
should
got
have
better.
told you in 29 years of being together?
And that was hard.
Now, if you was just with him for 2 years,
until the next
you was
day
just with him
Tasha
for
was
5
allowed to
years,
visit him.
you was just with him
That
for
mental
8 years,
hospital
whatever
was
the case may
really,
be.
honestly,
it's
like a
certain
horror movie.
things
Like
that you
something
would
that I
say,
seen
well, I
off
would
of
hope
film.
that this
It
person
was
would be
really scary.
comfortable
When I
enough
got
with
in to
me
see
to
him,
tell me
He
how
just
they
like had his
feel,
hand behind his
what's
head,
going
laying
on
the
with
bed,
them, right?
And I just got in the bed and laid next to him.
When you've been with somebody
He
that
told me
long,
that he
and
was molested.
something that happened to them
And that he
that
cheated.
long ago comes
And I'm just
up,
like,
it's not
okay,
a thing
Keyon,
of,
like,
of
dang,
you
wait
saying,
till
well,
you
why
35
didn't you
to
tell me?
this, and then
You
on
should have
top of that,
told
you
me.
tell me you
It's a thing
cheated?
of why didn't you
So
feel
now
like you could come
I
to
have
me?
to not only
That
like
that makes
help you
feel
get
a
out
little,
of here. I gotta help you
little
get out
sad
of here
or
knowing that you
disappointed.
cheated on me.
So it would be
I
like,
wanted
well,
to say,
all
well,
of
okay,
the
where
things
the
that
women
we've
you
gone
was sleeping
through, all
with,
of the
have
things that
them
we've
come
been
help you
through,
get out.
I have
That's
never
what I really
wavered
wanted
in
to
my
say,
loyalty.
but
I've
I
never
could not
wavered
leave
in
my
my
husband
support.
in
I've
that
never
hospital.
wavered with all of the things
I think
that
I went through every emotion
I
that
am
you could
supposed to
possibly
do
go
as your
through.
spouse.
At that time, I was
The
hurt.
fact that you
and I
going
still
through
feel
this particular
rage.
rough
I'm
time or
surprised
having
I'm
this bad
able to see it.
experience. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know why I didn't stop that.
Wow.
Having, thank you. Having the experience that you've had all of these years ago, and you didn't talk to me about it. That's what is disappointing, or should I say, that's what makes them second guess what it is that they may not be doing, or what they may not have done to prove themselves worthy of knowing your innermost, deepest thoughts and secrets. 29 years is a long time to be with somebody. And for somebody to just spring something up like that on you to say, well, 22 years ago, this happened to me. You would be like, damn, we was together for 7 years already. Okay, I see why you may not have told me then, but shit, it's been another 22 years and you've never told me. So it's like, that's where you lose that. It's not a thing of her being, I don't think she was angry to the point to where she's like, oh, this motherfucker didn't tell me. I just think that she was like, wow, why wouldn't they tell me? And from just in the past relationships that I've had, most women, they want to be your everything. They want to be your best friend. They want to be your best lover. They want to be your best confidant. They want to be your best everything. When a woman really is in love with her man, she wants to be the best of and wants to be everything for him. That's what I think that where she was coming from with that. Not necessarily saying it was the appropriate thing, but I understand why she would feel that way. Because it's like, why wouldn't you trust me enough to say, well, man, why didn't you tell me? Was it me? Or was it something I didn't do? Was it something I could have done? Was it something I could have been better at? It's just like when women get cheated on. That's one of the things that they go through. They feel disappointed in that motherfucker that cheated on them, but then there's a part where they second guess themselves. What the fuck was I doing or not doing enough of to have this person do this? And sometimes it's not about them. Most of the time it ain't about them. The majority of the time when somebody does or somebody cheats or something, it has nothing to do with that person. It has everything to do with the person who did it. And in this instance, I understand why Keyon felt the way he felt. And I understand why she had the feeling of what she felt, because she probably doubted herself and was disappointed or sad at the fact that he didn't tell her. She wasn't mad. I believe she was just sad in that aspect that he didn't feel like he could come to her with that. So I hope that clears it up.
You still feel rage about?
It's just like when I think about certain things, you know.
Yeah.
Like if I'm folding this underwear, you know, stuff like, you know, just little things. Like sometimes you just think about it and you just start thinking and just get angry.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just had to get him out of there first. Then deal with
all that other.
All that other stuff. So finally when I got him out, then he got well, then I had to deal with what I was going through. Because I felt like he was getting worse there. It seemed like every time I went there, they was doping him up.
Oh,
like,
now that's what I was going to ask. Was he on medication?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was on medication, and I just felt like it was really
like
making him worse. And I was just like, if I don't get my husband out of here, I'm going to lose him.
Yeah. Have you been able to grasp what he was dealing with?
That could lead
to
the adultery.
The adultery.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and
the promiscuity.
I didn't understand that at first.
But you do now.
I do now.
Yeah.
It's really tough to even think about. You know what I mean? But it wasn't about me.
Not in the least.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't be fault for what he did.
Right.
And that's what I had to tell myself.
Yeah.
Right.
You feel like that's kind of, your anger is kind of smoothing out.
It is.
Good.
It is smoothing out. It has to. I got 4 babies. Yeah. I just can't be popping
And you got a beautiful husband.
Yeah, I do.
Who love you.
Yes. I love this man since I was a kid.
And all the work that he's done.
Yes. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
I am so proud of him.
Just that alone.
Yeah.
We just really had to revamp and learn each other differently.
Yeah.
You know, learn each other's love language, how to communicate. Also,
so here's the other part to that. When things like this happen, you literally, when you don't deal with the situation at hand, when you don't get counseling, when you don't go to therapy, when you don't bring those things to the forefront, you literally become a different person. There are different things about you now. And then when you talking about who you are now, and once you laid down this tremendous burden, now you're actually becoming and being able to be your authentic self. And it is kind of like being a new person and getting to know that newness of who you are for both people. There are things that you awakening within you, and there are things that actually come about to say, well, this is why I did this, and this is who I am now, and this is because I've gotten this off my chest, and I've worked through this part of my life, and I've worked through this trauma. Now I'm more of this. Now I'm more this way. And now I can be this. Now I can talk more. I can be more communicative. I can express myself better. I can do that part. And it's like now it changes you, and you do have to learn each other a little bit differently and over again in a lot of areas. And yes, it does. It does justify the adultery. So when you talking about, and I can explain that, John. So when you talking about what happened to him don't justify it, absolutely does, because there is a part of him, because he's the one that's dealing with it. He's not getting no professional help. He's not working through it. He's trying to cope with what has happened to him, and he coped with it by being oversexed, by trying to prove his masculinity by sleeping with multiple women. That's just what it is. It's just like when you're talking about when you talk about people who talk about, well, here's one of the things that I know of, and that's it's a fact. A lot of people who have weight loss surgery, they tend to pick up another addiction because of the way they've related to food, the way they've been addicted to food, the way that they have treated themselves when it comes to food, once they lose that weight, they usually become very promiscuous, or they'll indulge into drugs, or they'll indulge in alcohol. They will become a little different because of that. And that's one of the things that they actually will talk about and say, well, you trading this addiction for that addiction. The way that you relate to and overindulge in food, now you're overindulging in sex. The way that you overindulge in sex, well, now you're overindulging in alcohol. But he could have beat his wife instead of cheating. Okay, now we're talking about the physical part of it. That's physical abuse. That is something that is not justified. But when you talk about people who deal with physical abuse, when you talk about people who are in physically abusive relationships, how do they get there? It's a type of relationship that's learned. It's a type of behavior that's taught. It's a type of behavior that is experienced by those people that are in it each day. Because if it wasn't, the first time that woman got hit or the first time that guy that got hit, I'm out. You get one. Second time, I'm gone. But then you have those that stay for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's two parts to that. It's a double-edged sword. It's the one who is used to beating, and then it's the one that's used to getting beat. I saw my mama get her ass beat, so that's how you show me love, by beating my ass. Plenty of people who go through that. I saw my daddy beat his wife, beat my mama, so I'm going to beat my wife. I'm going to beat my baby mama, because that's what my daddy did. I learned it from my daddy. So I'm going to pick somebody that's like my mama so that I can beat her like my daddy beat her. Beat my mama. It's a lot of people that go that way. Now, there's some that don't, but a lot of people do. Girl, he just hit me because he loved me. Girl, I know I should leave him, girl, but I just don't know. It's just that I love him. You love him when he whooping your ass? Well, nah, not that part, but I still, we can work through that. It was my fault. I did push him a little too much. You start making excuses for that person. It's just like that little girl who got stolen as a baby by that woman that worked at the hospital, and 17 years later, she still was calling her mama. She still wanted to be around her. She stole you and she raised you as her own, and it fucks up your head. You told Harpo to beat me. But adultery is, I'm confused. I guess growing up being abused, I never wanted to use it as an excuse for my bad behavior. Yes, but you're talking about somebody who has chosen to do the opposite. A lot of things, most of the time in life, people will do one or two things. They'll learn by learning what to do and learning what not to do by the people that they watch. So if I grow up and I see my daddy beating the shit out of my mama, I'm going to do one or two things. I'm either going to totally hate it and I'm going to never do it, or I'm going to follow in my father's footsteps and I'm going to do it. Learning what to do and learning what not to do. That is the choice that we have. And when you get older, the thing about it, most people who aren't in that environment have the expectation for you to do the right thing. However, in general, most people will do what they've learned and what's in their environment and what they are exposed to in their environment on the regular, then the opposite. Those people that do that thing and they choose to go the other way, they are the few, and they are the few and far and in between that do. Most people that are addicted to that ratchet lifestyle, that ghetto hood mentality, because they've grown into it, they've been around it all of their lives. They fathers did it. They fathers did it. They fathers did it. They mothers did it. They grandmothers did it. They great grandmothers did it. It's a learned behavior. It's a cycle. It's an environment that is created, and that shit, it gets perpetuated to the point to where it's so dysfunctional that you justify the dysfunction. You will find you will be around some shit that's so dysfunctional long enough, and if it's more, it's more than enough people that's doing it, you will justify that shit. You truly will. You'll justify it by using God. Well, if God didn't put me here, God don't make no mistakes. So if it wasn't supposed to happen, then God wouldn't have let it happen to me. You'll justify it by saying we all did it. That's what we do. We'll justify it by saying you ain't perfect neither. You think you better than everybody. That's justifying the dysfunction. And we have that bad. How many times do you see some fuck shit as opposed to stopping it? What you do? That's what we do now. We see dysfunction. We see some wild shit. We see some shit that's not supposed to happen. We don't call the police first. We don't say, hey, stop that shit. What we do? We get our phones out and we record. Oh, hell no, it's wild. Damn. That's what we do now. Somebody could literally be getting their ass beat to the point where they are unconscious. What will we do? Damn, he gonna kill us, shawty. Shawty, you killing him. We won't stop. First thing we do when we see something that's wrong is we grab our phones. When it used to be, we would at least take action and say, hey, let's break this shit up. Let's stop this. Let me call the police first. Hey, look, officer, I got such and such happening at such and such. I'm here, and this is what's going on. We won't even do that. We pull out our phone because we want to get likes. We want to get paid for the footage. That's what we do. And we don't even record the shit to give it to the police. Hell no, police, y'all can't take my phone. I'm gonna upload this shit, Joe. That's what we do. Dysfunction, man. If there's dysfunction and you keep that shit going, that's what happens. You perpetuate it.
Where I
Listen to you.
Well,
no, let me tell you, this man right here. Listen to you. Done his work.
Look,
yes, you have. Yes, you have.
Look,
yes, you have. I'm so impressed.
I'm trying to grow old with my family. So I just thank Tasha for being vulnerable enough. This process has allowed me to hit levels of love that I didn't know I was so capable of.
Yes. As difficult as this time has been for you guys, it's been a blessing.
It has.
You know?
Yeah, because you're...
And that was one of the biggest things that I loved about him is that he actually realized what had happened to him, and he actually did the work like they said. He worked through it through therapy. He worked through it, and he became a better version of himself. And what he looked for to say, man, I want to grow old and I want to have my family. That's what was important to him. And that was his driving force. He bettered himself. He became a better human being. He tried to do whatever he could and whatever within his power to do so to make himself better. And he understands he's still a work in progress. But he's moving forward and he is progressing. And that was awesome to see him do that. That was awesome for him to recognize that. A lot of times in life, we take the position of just saying, well, I know I be doing this, or I know I'm fucked up in this, but I'm working on that. God ain't finished with me yet. We tend to take that attitude more so as opposed to saying, I got work to do, and this is the stuff I'm going to do to actually change that, to actually fix that. His cheating wasn't rampant, John. It was just, and I believe that he did, but it wasn't like where he was just running through holes. He had just said he had cheated a couple of times or whatever, and that's what they had to work through. So he wasn't out there like that, but he was still out. He still did his thing or whatever the case may be.
All the better for it.
Yes.
You know, sometimes like the best part about your life will be sometimes the most darkest, or the thing that might, you know, you might be ashamed of. And I just knew I couldn't get stuck and be another story of somebody who just lost his mind and then disappeared. And I had a redemption.
That part. Well, you know, I also have to say, you know, as far as I'm proud of the community that has surrounded you and supported you. And we got a message from some folks.
Keyon, man, it's been a journey. I'm very proud of the man you've become, and I appreciate the brother you've been for me in my entire life.
Thank you for helping me become not only a better basketball player, but a better person.
You are a leader of men. You're an important figure in all our lives.
I know that Doc has been like one of your number one supporter.
Yeah, love some Doc Rivers.
But he has more to tell you.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
And this was like really awesome to just see
she's first.
the realness, and like you can see that shit wasn't fake. They was, that they really are.
Great.
Like,
So, Doc, I got to show you this. You
They
don't get
really
to see
friends.
this, Doc.
Oh my God.
But I had to get that Mbutu on there, Doc.
What's that?
Mbutu was our team mantra
Yes.
that Doc gave us when I was with the Celtics, and it goes, in order to me to be all that I could be, I need you to be all you can be, so that we could be all that we could be.
It's an African word.
And so, like, that's something that just really, really, resonated with me. And, man, the fact that you showed up for me, man, you ain't leave me.
We going nowhere, that.
You saw me, through, that experience, man. It just, it's life-changing for me. So I just, I always love you for that, Coach.
Love you.
Yeah.
Love you.
Always.
Tosh she was.
and it's like that's one of the biggest things that I saw from this, and I was just like, wow, you don't see that from us too often. And it was like a lot of times, what do most people just do? They let you figure that shit out yourself. They let you, that's your thing, that's your bag, you deal with that. And it was like to see Doc, like he just said, you didn't leave me, man, and you could have. That's not Doc's responsibility. He wasn't Doc Rivers' responsibility. Doc Rivers was his coach for a time. And that's pretty much what it was. I was this man's coach. But what did he do? He stuck and he stayed with him. He didn't go out on social media. Yeah, I just want to let y'all know I'm repping with my boy Keyon. He didn't do that. He stepped up as the man that he was and just said, I'm not going to leave this brother. I'm not going to leave this young man. I'm going to do whatever I can to help him and support him through this moment of his life to where, hey, he's just struggling right now. And him, Rajon Rondo, and Avery, they was with him. And that is that is a true testament to what just good people should do for one another. When you have the ability to help somebody and you see them struggling in life, help them as best you can. One of the reasons why I do this. I don't have all the answers. I just have a few that I think work. I just have a different perspective and my own perspective on some things. And it's like, I just try to use that. I try to commune with those people that are like-minded. And I just try to give my perspective and my point of view to those people that may listen to this in hopes of it possibly helping them, encouraging them, inspiring them to literally be a better version of themselves. That's what I want to do. That's what I feel as though is part of my calling in this life to do. And it may not be a person that's going to be helped right now watching this stream. It may not be somebody who's going to watch this stream tomorrow. It could be somebody who's going to watch it a week from now or even a year from now. And it can help them. That's my point. We have to be willing to do the work to better ourselves. We have to want that. Strive for that. That should be our goal every day. What am I doing? What can I do? What plan do I have in place to make myself better? To make myself a better father, a better friend, a better brother, a better uncle, a better mother, a better auntie, a better sister, a better grandmother, whatever the case may be. Because there's always room for improvement and we should all strive towards that. That's all I'm saying. That's the only thing that I want out of this. I think that's one of the biggest things that I love about Tommy Sotomayor is that he is calling and bringing light and calling out something that is truly a detriment to us as a race and as a society. And he's calling the light to it to hopefully bring change about it, to hopefully have people to stop doing it, to break the cycle of people consistently doing these things that we have just begun to accept as part of our culture. And it's not. It's wrong. it hurts people. It sets people up for failure. And it puts us in position to where we become a worse, well, not worser, but we become worse than where we are, and we don't progress forward because of the things that we consistently do that harm us and harm those that come after us.
Like the silent, like warrior hero.
Yes,
you know?
absolutely.
You really were. Like, it's amazing. And everyone always says what you were going through. And I remember telling Anne-Marie, I think Tasha's going through it. You know, she's got the kids. And when that call came, I swear I was on a golf course. And I don't walk off the golf course for just anybody.
Right.
I ran. Like, I was like, no, this is...
Yeah, Doc, you were there, man.
When you were struggling, you know, we all became sad.
Yeah.
Like, as a group, our team and I did. And, you know, we go back to that, the one day when I walked in that mental institution, and, you know, I told you later, I was like, the first thing I thought was, this man, he doesn't belong here.
Right.
Like, we're getting him out of here.
That's why, Doc, I really have a lot of admiration for you as well, because you really saw this young man in trouble, and you really did what you could.
But we wasn't letting him go.
Yeah,
like,
but you know, not everybody. You know, right?
Well, I'll be frank with you. There's times there's people in your life you do let go.
Yes.
You know, there are. There really are. But he wasn't one of them.
Right.
You know, I just know him. I knew him. Like, there was no way we were gonna let him go.
What was it about him?
His soul, his spirit. He was, you know.
And that's true. There are some people that you just don't have the tools to help. And you can't do that at the expense of you losing your own sanity, losing your own stability, losing your own, you know, the things that you have and the tools that you have to help people. You use them, but when those tools ain't working, you have to let them go and let them find help elsewhere. You can pass them along and say, hey, you should go here because this person's more equipped to help. I tell people all the time, there are some people that I cannot help. There are some people that me, you know, basically imparting into them what I know about life and about relationships. It's some people I can't help. And I tell them, hey, man, this is an area where you need to go and seek professional help. This is an area where you need to go and you need to talk to this person who is experienced in this particular thing. It just is. It just is. And I like the fact that he realized that, man, I think I can help this kid. I believe I can help this kid. This kid just needs some support. This kid needs some things that I can give him that I can help him.
To say a good one, he's such a good human being.
Yeah.
And this was a guy worth saving. And I do think the relationship with the players
it helped.
was the help. I mean, Rondo and all those guys, you know, Rondo could be a pain in the butt. And you know that. Am I right?
I can neither confirm or deny allegations.
But having said that, when this happened, Rondo was on top of it. He was a soldier. It's funny how, like, that helped me with Rondo. Because all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. Rondo's a great dude.
Right.
You know, people think athletes are perfect, but we have problems just like everybody else.
That was powerful what a doc just said. He was like, man, me helping this guy and this other guy helping this guy, it helped both of us. So it's like you got Doc over here, you got Rajon over here, and you got Keyon up here. It's like those two helping him brought that down, and it allowed them to become closer too. That support of that pyramid right there, them being concerned about this one guy here, allowed both of them to actually come together down here, and it allowed them to build a stronger base for the person who was up here struggling.
That's why we like coming here at the Red Table. I'm hoping that we can create more vulnerable space for our men.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because it's the vulnerability as well that nurtures the strength.
Yeah, we don't talk.
No.
You come home from practice, and hey, what you do today? Nothing.
Right.
You know, what's going on? Nothing.
Right.
It's just who we are, I guess. I don't know. And when we do feel better about it. But we just don't share. I'm guilty of that as much as anybody. I just don't. I
just think it's a man thing, unfortunately.
That's why we carry wallets. You guys carry purses. You know, Y'all got all this stuff.
We nurture everything.
We don't carry much. You know, we don't. It is the meat and potato. It's so. We don't go to therapy.
No, we don't.
Especially a black man.
Yes.
Black men don't want to go to the dentist.
Right.
It's the truth. We don't trust doctors.
And that is something that he is so right about that. It's like we have this thing to where we are just, it's like therapy and just going to just simple things like to the dentist or to the doctor. It's like fucking kryptonite. It's like the worst thing. We'll do any and everything else besides doing that. Your mental health, physical health, your dental hygiene, all of those things, it's a simple 6-month checkup that we won't do. And we'll wait until our teeth are about to fall out of our head before we go see a dentist. We'll wait till we're in excruciating dental pain before we go see a dentist. As opposed to doing the preventive care and just going every 6 months, getting your teeth clean, getting your teeth x-rayed, and doing that. I go to the dentist every 6 months. Even with me moving, I got delayed by about maybe 5 or 6 months. But for the most part, that's something that my dad taught me. He would take me to the dentist every 6 months. We both go together and get our teeth cleaned. And it's like those are things that we don't do, and we need to start instilling that kind of stuff within us. You can get to a dentist. If you got a job, if you got insurance, even going to a clinic, go and get your teeth cleaned. Don't get that damn fluoride because you don't need it, and that's a whole nother story. But go get your teeth cleaned to prevent you from having cavities and prevent you from having to have root canals and all that kind of shit later on down the line. 45 years, not a cavity. That's all I'm saying. Part of that happening was the dental hygiene part of it. Getting my teeth clean, getting my teeth taken care of, going to the doctor every 6 months for blood work and checkups. Have them draw some blood, check the basic shit, check to make sure you ain't got nothing else wrong with you, because it's preventive maintenance. I'm in the process now of finding myself another primary care physician, being down here in the DFW. I gotta find me one. I'm going to find me one. It's the same concept, because I don't want to just let my health go off to the wayside without being checked on. It's like you have to make that conscious decision to say, this is what I'm going to do, not just for me, but for my children. I want my children to learn. Going to the doctor now, listening to a doctor about what you eat, listening to a doctor about exercise, listening to a doctor, learning those habits young. It's something that it will help them in the future. One of the biggest things about my daughter, and my wife and I are both on the same page of this, and shout out to her because I'm so proud that she instilled this into her, was that I did not want my daughter to be overweight. I didn't want her to be fat, and I didn't want her to have an addiction to sugar. And we have, in my opinion, have done an outstanding job at that. My little girl at 5, 6 years old, she likes to work out. She loves to do the little step master thing with my wife. She'll get on we got a exercise bike. She'll hop on a spin bike and we'll just be doing it while she's watching her tablet, because it's fun to her. So we've made it fun. Well, my wife has made it fun for her now, so it becomes a part of her, the second nature to her when she gets older. Amazing that she did that to break the cycle of her having to struggle with her weight. I didn't want my daughter to have to do that. I went through that. My wife has gone through that. All of our parents and everybody else has gone through that. I don't want her to have to go through that. I want her to be one of those skinny, fit chicks that when she gets older, people say, you can eat anything and you do whatever. She'll be like, hey, I work out. I like it. It's just what it is. So it's like keeping that type of mentality and knowing those type, that's stuff you instill in kids. You don't just hope and pray that the Lord gonna bless them with that one day. No, teach them in the way that you want them to go. This is almost finished.
We don't trust. We don't trust doctors. To try to get an athlete to a therapist is brutal. It's hard.
Black folks, period, to them, a therapist.
It's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
And you can't show weakness.
The thing that I realized when I went to therapy, it was like a physical relief, like weights went off my shoulders. Yes. Now, my personality was different. Sometimes I was like Pac, because I was mad up in that joint. Sometimes I was hopeless, like sad. But I went through all those different emotions, dropped that baggage off. I'm telling you, there's so many guys carrying their whole life experience around with them. And if they really want to soar, they got to get rid of some of that emotional baggage so that they can just soar.
Got to unload.
I was really grateful that I had a lot of male friends that shared their experiences with me, because I was as strict of where my boys were staying, where they were going, as I was with my girl, because I had heard enough stories to know that it was a reality, that your boys could be victimized the same way.
I look at my kids, they're all athletes. They have all been on road trips. Anything could have happened. And we would have never known. But we make everything so taboo that it creates a problem. That's why people don't talk about it.
Well, we're changing that.
You touched a lot of people, man.
Man, thanks, Doc.
You really did.
You allowed me to, Doc. You empowered me. You empowered me to have a voice. You know, you sat me right next to Rondo. You know, one time you called me out in the locker room and you told a guy, look at him. I look back like, who, me? Look at him. He's totally giving himself to the team. And it was Rondo, it was KG, it was Paul Pierce, it was Ray Allen, all these guys in the locker room, and you said, look at him. And man, you just empowered me like no other, man. So I'm always grateful for that.
We really appreciate having had the opportunity to sit with you guys.
Thank you for having us.
Seriously,
thank you, Doc.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you.
That was awesome. But that was huge what he said about it being something that's taboo. I tell you, we are one of the biggest group of people, and I'm talking about us black folks, that don't want nobody to know our bad. And even we want to take it a step further and try to make our bad into good. So even when somebody do call us out on it, we try to find a way, whether it's through the Lord, or whether it's through you don't know my story, or whether it's through you don't know my struggle, we try to make it good. Sometimes you just have to tell the bad so that the bad won't be perpetuated. When you're thinking about what you tell people and what people find out about you, it's okay for it to be bad and for you to be ashamed, because hopefully you will keep somebody else from becoming that, or going through that, or experiencing that. You got to be able to keep yourself in a position where anything you say, anything you do, and anything that you have done can be challenged. Don't ever put yourself or think of yourself to the point to where you can't be challenged on what you're doing and what you're saying. Do I think everything that I've done and said in my life is right and perfect? No. Everything that I've done and said on my channel? Absolutely not. Could it be challenged? Yes. Do I mind for it to be challenged? Absolutely not. I don't mind having a conversation. Somebody can watch something that I did and say, hey, I want to talk to you about this because I don't like the way that you did that. Now I think that what you did, fine. Let's have the conversation about it. Because as long as we're talking about it, we are allowing ourselves to get better at it. But it has to start with the conversation. Not talking about young boys being molested, young boys being raped is a problem. Because it's happening. And nobody's saying nothing about it. We're more inclined to rally behind Colin Kaepernick taking a knee because he want to play and saying this about black folks and being violent, being abused by the police. We're more inclined to get on that bus to wear blackout shirts, blackout our jerseys. I ain't watching NFL no more. We're more inclined to rally behind that than we are to rally behind this. Young boys being molested by their uncles. Young boys being molested by their cousins. Young boys being molested by their neighbors. Young boys being molested by their preachers. Young boys being molested by their teachers. Young boys being molested by their friends. Young boys being molested by their choir directors. Young boys being molested by their music teachers. Young boys being molested by their coaches. Young boys being molested by the man down the street at the corner store. Young boys being molested by their camp instructors. Young boys being molested by their Boy Scout leaders. All of these things that are happening to our young boys, we don't want to talk about that. But what we will do is we will talk about what this small percentage of stuff that's happening to black people and that they racist and that they did this. We'll call that out to the light. We'll march for that. When we out there shooting ourselves, killing ourselves, or we ain't gonna talk about that. Let a police officer tase somebody because they want bacon, or they was arguing with somebody at IHOP over bacon. Let him get tased, and we all over that. Let him get locked up or punched in the face because he didn't obey a lawful order and he getting arrested. He's under arrest or he got a warrant. Or we'll protest that. How come we not stand? I ain't saying that. I ain't saying we shouldn't. When the police fuck up, we need to be on their ass. But when we hurting ourselves, we need to be even more concerned about that. Why ain't nobody marching and standing up for these young boys that are being taken advantage of and that are being preyed upon? Why ain't nobody standing up and marching for that? Our entire country is in an uproar about abortion. How come ain't nobody in an uproar about these young boys being molested? Where's they Me Too movement? Where's they Us Too movement? Where's they Hey Y'all movement? Where's the Look at this shit movement? Where is that? That's what I'm challenging us with. That's why I did this to, hey, let me try to do my part and let me at least talk about it and start having the conversation about it. Because that's what's equally important as far as trying to bring about change. You have to first acknowledge the problem. Stop thinking that everything gonna be taken care of if we fall to our knees and go to church on Sunday, shout and fall out and get some holy oil or get some holy water splashed on us, or we drank something and then we fall out of church and it's gonna all be better now. No. Faith without work is dead. I think that's how I sound. I ain't the most religious, but I got some religion. I done walked into a church or two every now and again. But I believe that's what it says in the Bible. Faith without work is dead. Which basically means you can have all the faith in the world, but if you ain't doing shit, it's a wrap. It ain't gonna do nothing. So, I hope that this video helps somebody become a better version of themselves. I just want to say thank you everybody who tuned in, click the like button, click the share button, and just took an opportunity to watch this, and hopefully it will spark about a conversation. I hope that this helps somebody to actually talk about something else with their children besides Old Town Road. I hope that this helps somebody have a conversation with their niece, with their nephew, with their cousin, with their kids that they coach, with their friends, with their family, just so that they can, hey, give a kid somewhere an outlet or an opportunity for a voice to say, hey, I know I ain't your daddy, I'm your friend, or I'm your coach. Something happened to you, come tell me. You can talk to me. I got you. I'm going to help you. Say something to somebody. Just that alone. Say something to somebody. Say something to everybody. Damn, or somebody. Everybody. Every kid that's watching this, every young person that's watching this, somebody touch you, somebody molest you, somebody rape you, somebody do anything to you. Tell everybody until somebody helps you. That's my advice to these young people. That's my advice to these little kids, these young teenagers. Somebody does something to you, a group of boys, one boy, one girl, a group of girls, one man, one woman, somebody somewhere do something to you, tell everybody. Keep telling until somebody do something. Let me read these donations real quick and we're going to get on up out of here. Let's see here. Shout out to Lady Law. Thank you. She dropped your boy a 5-piece. I appreciate it. For enjoying the show as always. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's what's up. Let me see somebody else. My man Steven dropped your boy off with a 10 spot. That's what's up. That was from the other day. Okay. That's what's up. Thank you so much. That's what the Cash App said. Let me hit the little PayPal up. And let's see what we got going. 1-900, I'm telling, right. That's what's up. I really enjoyed the show tonight. I really enjoyed everybody coming through. Thank y'all so much. Let me see here. Where's mine? There we go. Alright. Boom. Let me start off first with my man. Let me make sure I can say the name because I don't want to mess up. It's been a while, not much, but I still support you, bro. Love from Denver. My man Corey Stegall. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I remember that from yesterday. He sent that to me. That's what's up. Yo, this is Michelle Cobre. Showing love to a fellow Midwesterner. Big up to the Chicago Fire Blackhawks. Chicago Fire Blackhawks, Cubs, Bulls, Fuck those Bears. Oh, I got to roll with the Bears. And other Midwestern teams I love too. Hey man, thank you so much, man. I appreciate your donation. Hit your boy off with the $4 piece. That's what's up. And Diana P, thank you so much. Missed the shows with you and Tommy. She hit your boy off with $10. That's what's up. Hey, once the I think Tommy said it's another 15 days before the Voltron Network is back up. Once it's back up, we will be doing our show again. So I know I got a show that I'm doing. I started the Relationship Rehab Live, and I've been streaming. I'll stream that on both. We got that. We also got the a show with me and Tommy. We'll hopefully be doing that, and we might. I'm not sure if we're gonna do it, but I'm hoping that we do. But it'll be something special with me, Tommy, and DJ. So we're going to see how that goes. I hope we can get that going. Also, you got Lady Law on the Voltron Network. You got Princess X. You got Bolo. You got, I forgot the other dude name. God damn it. You got Nat B. And I think the other dude name is Brian, too, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But you got them, too. They're doing their shows as well. So just give us a couple more weeks. And, man, the Voltron Network will be popping once again. All right, also, I want to give a shout out to Unique Laura, showing some for the great entertainment. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Hit your boy out with the 5-piece. Let's go. And my man, Colonel Davis. What's up? He always looking out, man. I appreciate it. Here's my donation from a virgin who believes in waiting until after marriage. That's what's up. Hey, man, Godspeed to you, man. Colonel Davis. Hey, you can't miss what you ain't experienced, so you all good, man. I hope you get there, brother. I hope you find that one that you can give all that love to, because you're going to have a lot. That built up wanting and wanting and wanting, woo, might make your head pop off. That's what's up. All right, and let's see. Oh, my man, Kenneth Lyles, thank you so much, man. Hit your boy off with a 20 spot. My man, that's what's up. Dropped it like it's hot. Yeah, buddy. I thank you for that, brother. Thank you so much for your donation, too. We getting up there, man. Getting close. I'm getting close. We making progress. I'm donating. Y'all donating. And together, our powers combined, we are financially backing the platform. That's what's up. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And hey, Black Shadow, I don't mind doing stuff like this and talking about this kind of stuff as long as we have the opportunity to do it and we got a purpose with doing it and a specific area that we focusing on. We can definitely do this, man. I don't mind that. But to everybody, again, thank you so much for coming through. I appreciate you all. I hope that this video helps somebody become a better version of themselves, and I hope that somebody will now be more encouraged, empowered, and inspired to have a conversation. I am Brian Redmond. This is Relationship Rehab. Peace, and I'm out. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night, everybody. And salute to everybody that supports the network and the show and your boy.